And good evening. I'm Christy Casciano.
I'm Jeff Kulikowski. As we come to the end of 2024, one of the most heartbreaking stories of the year, or really any year for that matter, the ambush of two local police officers.
The State Attorney General's office issued a report on police actions that night. Joining us now to talk about that and many other topics, Syracuse Police Chief Joe Cecile. Thank you for joining us again.
Sure, thanks for having me.
We know that the report ruled police officers were justified in killing the shooter that night. I can't imagine how difficult, though it must have been, to see all the details of that report laid out for everyone to read.
Yeah, it was hard. It's emotional to read that, mostly because it's just, as you mentioned, lists of things that happened, no emotion, just cold, hard, sterile facts. And, you know, as soon as I read it, I immediately thought of the two families, the Husak family and the Jensen family, and how they're feeling, seeing this thing just laid out in such a cold, hard, sterile fashion.
Chief, one of the things in there, and, you know, so everybody knows, I mean, this night was essentially 5 minutes from the time the first officers got to that house to he was put down. The report turned up some what we'll call communication issues. You're on one channel, Onondaga County Sheriffs are on another, 911 dispatchers, trying to get everybody connected in that short amount of time. What's your takeaway from that? And kind of, do we change things or tweak things to try to make things better?
You always look to improve, but I will tell you that I don't think with the rapidity that this event took place, from issuing a mere ticket to an active shooter or ambushing officers, I don't think it would have made any difference whatsoever. You know, we'll always look to improve. You know, 911 is our lifeline out there. They do a tremendous job under great stress to make sure that all the officers are safe, and they did that night as well. And you know, people, you haven't asked this question, but there's only one person responsible for the deaths of these officers, and it's this, and I'll say it, it's this came out with an assault rifle and ambushed the officers. That's the sole reason they're dead right now, not anyone else. But again, we always look to improve.
So were there some changes in protocol as a result of that night and the report?
Yeah, so we made minor tweaks to communication when we leave the city, go into the county. One of the big changes we made had nothing to do with the AG report, though. You know, we changed what we did, what we do for health and wellness of the officers. As you know, we have a full-time wellness officer. We have a very robust peer support team that's very caring and very good at what they do. But what we added after the Jensen Husak incident was a psychiatrist on contract, and she's been invaluable ever since in helping these officers move through this event, but also other events that you're dealing with that come with the job, mental health issues. And we've been using her and relying on her for a lot of things.
How many officers have sought out her help?
I would say over 20.
Wow.
But I don't know the exact number.
Yeah. And it's not just for what happened that night, but many other incidents, I would imagine, too.
It is, because that event brought up things that they'd been dealing with years before that. And this job just brings things to light. It comes with mental health issues because of the job itself. And keep in mind, she's an expert in the challenges of law enforcement and military veterans. So she knows what she's doing, and she's been invaluable so far.
Great resource to have.
Yeah.
Chief, I want to keep things rolling along since we have a limited amount of time. We talk to you fairly regularly, it seems, about car thefts. They are still up. It's about 14%, so I guess maybe that's a little bit lower than we've been seeing, but it's still up. Now, evidently, your department says there's a new trend out there, so it's not just Kias and Hyundais anymore. Now, what are we on guard for?
Yeah, so the numbers went down a little, but the new trend is Lexus, Infinitis, Toyotas, and Nissans, I believe. Something they probably picked up on TikTok again. You break through the rear window to bypass the security alarm system. Then you use a reprogramming device that you can buy online to reprogram the vehicle to recognize the key that you brought with you so you can start it up and drive away.
Who's behind it? Is it the same group of teenagers, new crops of kids, different kinds of thieves? What are we looking at?
So we haven't identified any yet, so that's when we'll know. But I would imagine it's different than the ones we were seeing with the Hyundais. I think it's going to be a whole different group of people. We won't know till we arrest them and have them in custody. You know, and again, this trend, it's hard to keep up with these trends. You know, next we're going to see a trend out there where you can use static electricity to start up an electric vehicle.
Yeah.
You know, it's difficult to stay on top
Well,
of.
you try to stay ahead of it, so what are you doing to try and stay ahead of this one?
Investigate the crimes for sure, because if we can get this group of individuals, and we do think it's the same individuals, then we can deter it that way. Secondly, you know, once again, the community is going to be a big help on this. You know, I don't want to keep saying steering wheel locks, but I'm going to say it again. It may be the difference between having your car stolen and not having it stolen. When they break in, they go in there, maybe even when they look in there and see that they're going to have to deal with a steering wheel lock as well. They may move on to the next vehicle.
Because they're looking to be fast. They're not looking to go through that. They want fast, fast, fast. And if you make it inviting for them or make it not inviting for them, they're just going to move on.
Correct.
Chief, one area we have been seeing a rather significant decrease in is shootings. You can name them. Shootings with injuries or death are significantly down. What's helped bring this down?
Yeah, so we're, like, as you mentioned, we're about in the low 40% of fewer people standing around a hospital bed or a coffin. I think it's just good police work, whether it's the patrol officers on the street doing proactive work and getting guns off the street, or our drug detectives breaking down drug houses where we usually find 2 or 3 guns, or the homicide detectives, which I bring up all the time, as you know. We currently sit at 95% closure rate, which is a deterrent for doing the crime. And it gets closure for the families as well. So it's just overall good police work that's bringing those numbers down.
All right, we're closing in on 2024. Next year, 2025, is going to be your last year as police chief, last year with SPD, because you announced that you will be retiring. What are your goals for 2025? What's on that list?
Well, you know, I'd like to continue with the reducing gun violence and certainly take a crack at property crime. I'd like to bring that down. The health and wellness of the officer is going to be on my mind. But the new thing on the horizon is technology. You know, we have the first drone responder that's coming in first quarter of next year. We're looking at getting a robot dog that can actually open doors and go into situations where we have a barricaded gunman, so they can go in there and search, so there won't be any danger to officers or even a live canine. There's AI stuff that we're looking at to help officers write reports swifter, so that they can get away from the computer and back on the streets to engage with the public. You know, a lot of things. And lastly, I just hope, you know, I can help with a nice transition from, you know, the next mayor and the next chief, so I can, you know, get the stress off my back and travel with my wife and do some section hiking on the Appalachian Trail.
Yeah.
That sounds lovely.
I'm very curious. I think maybe you touched on it one other time in an interview with us, but I'm very curious about this drone responder.
Yeah.
What is that? How would that work?
So we have a call, and this drone will actually give it'll be given the coordinates, and it will be launched from different places in the city and go to the call to give live information to the officers that are arriving. Now, here's an example. Say you have someone reports there's a man with a gun or a child with a gun in a park. This drone goes there. It can zero in, take a, can focus right in on the child, finds out it's a toy gun. You can see an orange tap on the front or an orange trigger. Now the officers arriving on scene know it's not a real gun. It changes the entire dynamic. That's just one instance of how this drone can be extremely valuable in giving intel to the officers arriving on the scene.
Right, the aerial view would probably be advantageous in many scenarios.
Yes, many.
Right.
And save some resources too, right?
Yeah.
You can send that out first instead of sending several people to a call or even a few. So.
Yeah, absolutely. In some cases, we won't even have to go because it'll go and say whatever the disturbance, whatever's not even there anymore. So.
Right. Fascinating stuff ahead.
Yeah.
Chief Cecile, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Chief.